guys, today we are going to read more Kitty Corner, and it is going to be Callie. And after this book, we are going to take the quiz. Take the quiz that is it's like a quiz. I hope they have it. And if they don't, we'll just end the video. And so guys, it's like they don't have it. So we'll get started. Chapter 8. And guys, we will get started with this. And oh, they do have it. Do they? No, they don't. So, I hope you enjoyed this book. So guys, let's get started. Chapter 8. Mia and Michael and Mom searched every nook and cranny of the apartment, while Dad headed back outside to look for Callie. Any luck? Mom asked when Dad came in. Again, shook his head. I checked with Nonna Kate too. Callie isn't up there. Maybe she slipped out when we were taking out the trash. I just don't know how she did. We were very, very careful. Michael told Mia couldn't believe it. Callie was gone. When she looked at the empty cat bed, she felt a single tear rolled down the side of her nose. We can look for her some more, Dad said, and we'll put food out. Mom and Michael started filling up Callie's bowls, while Dad helped Mia with her coat and shoes. She put them on right over her pajamas. We'll be back, Dad called as they opened the door. Mom ran down the hall to give me a small Tupperware bowl. The container had a lid and was filled with Callie's food. If you shake it, she might hear the rattling and come, Dad said. At first, Mia just held the container. She tiptoed along the sidewalk and whispered Callie's name into the dark night. Every time a car drove past, Mia flinched, remembered that Mr. Bulford said it wasn't a good idea for cats to live outside in a busy neighborhood. By the time they got out to the end of the street, Mia was shaking the bowl and calling as loudly as she could. Dad held her hand, giving it a squeeze every once in a while. Once they came around a park street, Mia had pretty much given up hope at the next corner. They would have walked all the way around the block. Mr. Lee, Mia cried. The light was still on. His store. Mia let go of Dad's hand and ran down the street to the market door. The store was closed, but Mia could see Mr. Lee inside. He was sweeping in the back. Mia banged on the glass door. Mr. Lee, she yelled. Mia called out, "Don't bother Mr. Lee." It was too late. Mr. Lee had already propped the broom against the shelves and was coming toward the front door of the store. Mia held her breath as she turned the locks. "Hello, hello," Mr. Lee said as he pulled the door open. "Is everything all right?" His face was creased with worry. Dad caught up and put his hand around Mia's shoulder. "We're sorry to bug you. Callie's gone," Mia interrupted. "She must have gotten outside. We can't find her, and the vet told us to keep her inside until her cut is better." "Ah, yes," Mr. Lee said, his eyebrows raised. "Cats do that. Callie is like my old cat. She hated closed doors. She wanted to come and go. So I kept the store door open. Then she didn't leave. She just wanted to be able to go. Funny old cat." Mr. Lee shook his head and smiled. Then he looked at Mia as if he had just remembered she was there. "I will leave food out again. Your cat will be hungry. She will come back. You leave out food too." Mr. Lee's words made Mia feel better. He seemed so sore. Callie was not lost. She nodded and gave the store owner a small smile. "Thank you, Mr. Lee," said Dad. He took Mia's hand and led her away from the market and down the street. When they got home, Mia propped at the trash cans. She wanted to make sure Mom and Michael had put Callie's bowls in the right place. She also checked that the kitten was not hiding by the stoop. Inside, she went straight to bed. Mom and Dad came in together to tuck her in. They usually took turns, but Mia knew they both felt bad about what happened. Dad brushed the hair from her forehead. "We'll keep our window open tonight so we can hear her," he promised. "Just in case." "Thanks, Dad," Mia said. Mom kissed her on the forehead and tugged on her ear. "Love you, Mia. Sweet dreams." Mia kissed Mom back without answering. How could she have sweet dreams when Callie was lost? Chapter 9. Mia woke up the next morning and tiptoed in her parents' room. This time, she was careful not to wake them up. Pulling back the curtain, Mia could see that the dish was empty once again. The food they had left out had disappeared, and once again Callie was nowhere in sight. Mia wandered back to her bedroom. She knew that the empty dish was a good sign. If Callie had eaten the food. She was still okay, but Mia wished Callie were inside their house. She really wanted her to stay. She liked Callie's bright yellow eyes and the way they pawed at the window. She liked Callie's little greeting of the meow, meow, meow. Mia heard Michael and her parents wake up and start to move around the apartment. Michael knocked twice and poked his head past her door. "Any sign of Callie?" he asked. Mia frowned and shook her head. She saw Michael's face fall. "She did eat the food, though. Thanks for putting it out." A little later, Mia was brushing her teeth when she heard the phone ring. "That was Mr. Lee," Mom said when Mia came out of the bathroom. Callie is at his store. She was there when he showed up this morning. Want to come with me to get her?" Mia was dressed and ready in seconds. Outside, she dashed ahead of Mom and stopped in front of Mr. Lee's, out of breath running so fast. She looked through the window. There was Callie. The kitten looped herself around the legs of a woman buying coffee and toilet paper. The woman bent down to give her a pat. Then a teenager strode in and headed for the potato chip display. Callie trotted down the aisle after him, batting at the boy's loose shoelace. Mia smiled and pushed open the door. Hello, hello, Mr. Lee said with a wave. Your cat is here. She is keeping busy. Mia rushed down the aisle and swooped the kitten into her arms. Oh, it's my friend. What's she doing here? I hope she wants to play. Mia snuggled her nose into Callie's soft belly. She was so happy to see the kitten again. When she looked up, she saw her mom talking to Mr. Lee. Mia walked toward them, petting Callie all the way. The kitten purred and rubbed her cheek against Mia's. Thanks again, Mr. Lee, Mom said. Thank you, Mia said, looking Mr. Lee right in the eye, so he would know how much she appreciated his help. My pleasure. Mia was on the sidewalk before she heard Mr. Lee calling to her. Wait, he said, I have something for Callie. He came out from behind the register and hurried down. Mia, he held something fuzzy and pink in his hands. She likes it, he said. She likes to play. It was a mouse toy. Thank you, Mia said. Mr. Lee really seemed to understand cats. Leaving for school was hard. Callie had just gotten home, and Mia was worried she would try to escape again. I'll keep a close eye on her, Mom promised, and I'll call Dr. Bulford to tell her that Callie got out and ask if she has any ideas on how to deal with a disappearing cat. Mia rubbed Callie between the ears one last time and kissed her goodbye. Michael waited for her to close the apartment door before he opened the one that led to the street. They had to make sure Callie wouldn't get out again. Mia tried to pay attention at school, but the day went by in a blur. All she could think about was Callie. As soon as the last bell rang, she and Michael raced the whole way home on their scooters. Mia was relieved to see Callie sitting in the window. The kitten looked like a princess in a castle tower, watching all that went on outside. Hi, Callie, Mia said as she climbed the stairs. The kitten blinked at her, then jumped down from the window. As soon as Michael put the key in the lock, Mia parked her scooter and took off her shoes. As usually, when they came home, she was a step behind her brother. The instant Michael opened the apartment door, Mia saw a blur of white and orange of Callie zipped out into the hallway. Oh no, said Mia, but the kitten stopped short when she saw that the outside door was closed. She meowed, and Mia could just imagine what she was thinking. I'm going out. Oh, why is that big door closed? I'll just wait for it to open again. I want to smell the fresh air. I want to hear what's happening outside. I need to know what's going on. Why can't I go out? I'm pretty clever. I'll find my way. Mom appeared a dish towel in her hand. She's been like that all day, she said, sighing. Whenever she hears someone in the hallway, she searches for an escape route. Callie really wants to get outside. I'm afraid to open the doors or windows when I'm here by myself. She frowns. We're going to have a family chat at dinner. Mia gulped. She usually liked family chats when they were times to discuss things together. And everyone got a chance to talk. But this time, Mia knew that could be about one thing. What would they do with Callie? Mia turned to put her worries out of her head as she hurried to catch Callie. The kitten was sitting on the entry rug, innocent as could be. Why are you causing so much trouble? Mia asked. She and Michael played with Callie until dinner was ready, even as she giggled at the kitten's antics. Mia worried. How much longer would Callie be with them? Mom looked very serious. When they sat down to dinner, Mia's stomach was in a knot, and even though eggplant sarden was one of her favorites, she couldn't eat a bite. Well, I spoke to Dr. Bulford today, Mom said. Finally, I told her how Callie keeps trying to get out. I told her how Callie keeps trying to get out and how I think it is too hard on us and on her to try to keep her inside. Mia looked at Mom, but she has to stay indoors until her foot heals, she said. Mom nodded. Yes. And Dr. Bulford says she's willing to have her stay at Wags and Whiskers. I think that might be a better place for her. Mia jumped up from her chair. She can't stay there. That she would hate being in a cage. In the window, Dad put his hands on Mia's shoulder. Easy, Mia. May, he said. Are there any other choices for Callie? He asked. Mom, well, Mia is probably right, said Mom. Maybe it would be cruel to put Callie in a cage. Dr. Bulford also said she would be working hard to find a home for Callie, maybe a place with a bigger yard. Mia just shook her head, feeling tears come to her eyes. If anyone was going to find a home for Callie, it should be her. She knew Callie best. Mom was still talking. The only other possibility I can think of is just to let her go back to her old life. Callie is used to being a stray, and maybe it suits her best. She's just not happy being cooped up with us. I told the vet that her paw is healing. Well, and Dr. Bulford said she would probably manage all right if she escaped. The stitches will dissolve within a few days. Mia hated the thought of Callie leaving their home. She was just getting used to having a cat around, and she loved it as much as she'd always known she would, and she hated the idea of knowing she would, and and using up the cat around. And she loved it as much as she'd always known. She would, and she hated the idea of Callie living her life as a stray. Wouldn't every cat rather have a home and family? Callie hates being locked inside, but she really does like people, said Michael, as if he were reading Mia's mind. She keeps running away, but she always comes back. At least she goes back to Mr. Lee's market. The whole family looked into the front bedroom. Callie sat in the window, pawing at the glass. Look at those birds strut along the sidewalk. If I were out there, I'd show them who's the boss. Why is this window closed? I want to get out! Mia sighed. Why couldn't Callie just be happy to be inside? What did you do with a cat that loved people but couldn't be cooped up? There didn't seem to be any good answers. Chapter 10. Guys, I'm gonna see how much pages are left. So guys, I'm just gonna read this. Remember how Mr. Lee told us he used to have a cat who liked to get out? Mia looked around at her family, and then when he left the market, market door open. She pretty much stayed in the store. I wonder if Callie would do the same thing. Are you saying that what I think you're saying? Asked Dad. Michael stared at Mia, a slow smile spreading across his face. He nodded. I know you think I don't like cats, he said, but Callie kind of changed my mind. I really like her. I wish she could be our pet. But since she can't be ours, it would be great if she belonged to someone we knew, wouldn't it? Mia smiled back at her brother. Someone who would take good care of her and give her fluffy pink mouse toys. She agreed. She liked that. And how cool would it be if we could still see her all the time? Michael added, his eyes sparkling. Yeah, that would be the best, Mia agreed. She was getting excited too. She wondered if it could work. Would Callie be happy? Would she remember Mia and Michael? A few minutes later, the whole family walked down to Mr. Lee's store. Dad and Michael waited outside with Callie in the cat carrier. Mom following behind. Her shyness forgotten, Mia marched right up to the register where the shopkeeper stood, adding up the receipts from the day. Mr. Lee, she said, how come you don't have a cat? I mean, would you want another one? Me? Mr. Lee asked. I like cats very much. I miss my old cat. He paused. It seemed like he was looking at something far away. Yes, I would have another cat. Mia took a couple of deep breaths. What about Callie? Would you take her? She asked. You could just try it out for a while first. And then if everything went well, maybe you could be her family. And your store could be her home. Mia felt Mom's hand on her shoulder. But I thought you were keeping Callie, said Mr. Lee. Mia wished that were true. but she knew it had never been the plan. We were just fostering her, Mia told him. Just keeping her until we find the right home. She felt Mom squeeze her shoulder, and she knew that her mother was proud of her. Mr. Lee began to nod slowly. He raised his eyebrows and his nod quickly. He smiled. Yes, he said, I will take her. Then if she is mine, I promise to take good care of her. Wait right here, Mia said. She heard Mom start to yell to tell Mr. Lee about Callie's paw and how she would need to see Dr. Bulford one more time. She knew that her mother would take care of all the details. Mia wanted to take care of Callie. Mia brought the carrier into the store and unzipped the top eagerly. Callie jumped out of the carrier. She trotted up and down the main aisle of the narrow little market. Then she walked toward the register, looked up at Mr. Lee, and greeted him with a happy meow, meow. Hello to you, too, he said with a laugh. Callie rubbed herself against Mr. Lee's ankles and meowed some more. Oh, I like this place. There are so many smells. And so many people. There's a lot for me to do. The door is open so I can always go outside, but for now I want to watch the door. So see who is coming in. Yes, that's what I'll do. Callie walked over to the front of the market and sat upright, her tail curled about her just so, and her eyes on the door. Mia knew where to look. Mia had a feeling that Callie had chosen her spot. It was perfect for her. She was in the middle of the action, where she could watch people come and go. Now Mia knew where to look for the Calico Kitten whenever she went to Mr. Lee's. She and Michael knelt by Callie and gave her some goodbye pets, while Mom and Dad talked with Mr. Lee. When Mia and Michael were done playing with Callie, Mr. Lee gave them each an ice cream bar. Thank you for Callie, he said. Come and see her anytime. Come soon. On the walk home, Nonna Kate's cat carrier felt light and empty in Mia's arms. When they got to the building, they all sat down on their stoop. Mom and Dad sat on the top step. Then Michael and Mia below them all. Mia put the cat carrier down. She still wished Callie were staying with them, but at least she would get to go see and play with the Calico Kitten every day at Mr. Lee's. Well, that was a busy few days, Mom said. Sure, was Dad agreed. It'll be good to have some peace and quiet. Mia looked at Michael and rolled her eyes. I don't want peace or quiet, she said. I just want to foster another cat. Let's foster lots more cats and kittens until we're ready for one of our own, Michael said. Mom and Dad exchanged glances. We already have the litter box and the food, Mia said. She could tell by the way her parents had looked at each other that this was a good time to push for what she wanted. She has a point. You have to admit, you became very fond of Callie, Dad said, patting Mom on the hand. Mom nodded. And fostering is a good thing, right? Michael said. You're right, Mom said. It is. I suppose it is. Would help the kids learn what it takes to have a pet of their own, Dad added. They were pretty responsible when it came to taking care of Kelly. Okay, I get it, Mom said. Let's just wait and see. Let's said, yes, said Mia. She smiled up at her mom. And Dad and brother, let's just wait and see what kind of kitten we foster next. The end, guys. I hope you enjoyed that book.